George Cooper was never supposed to be the hero. And that's exactly why he is. There's a version of George Cooper Sr. that exists in the background of The Big Bang Theory, a version filtered through memory, frustration, and a child's limited understanding. In that version, he's distant, flawed, forgettable. But young Sheldon does something rare. It forces you to confront the possibility that the man you thought you understood was never fully seen in the first place. Because when you actually examine what George Cooper does, not what people say about him, but what he consistently does, you start to realize something uncomfortable. He isn't just a good TV dad. He might be the most realistic, and therefore the greatest, TV father ever written. From the very beginning of young Sheldon, George is placed into a parenting situation that would overwhelm almost anyone. Raising Sheldon Cooper, a once-in-a-generation prodigy who skips grades, challenges authority figures, and struggles profoundly with social norms. This isn't a quirky sitcom premise. It's a sustained, high-pressure reality. Sheldon attends high school at an extremely young age, alienates classmates and teachers, and frequently creates conflict simply by being unable or unwilling to filter his intellect. These aren't isolated incidents. They're structural challenges embedded into the family's daily life. And George, a high school football coach with no academic background in science or advanced theory, is expected to guide him. That gap alone could break most parents. But George doesn't walk away from it. Instead, he repeatedly attempts to engage Sheldon on his level, even when it's uncomfortable or confusing. When Sheldon struggles with social rejection and isolation at school, George doesn't offer empty reassurance. He grounds him in reality, explaining that not everyone will understand him and that life will involve navigating people who think differently. That moment matters because it reveals George's parenting philosophy, not to shield Sheldon from the world, but to prepare him for it, and that distinction is critical. Later, when Sheldon begins pursuing early college opportunities, the family is swept up in the excitement of his intellect. But George introduces a counterweight. He questions whether Sheldon is emotionally ready, not intellectually, but socially and psychologically. That concern isn't anti-ambition, it's protective. George is the only one consistently asking whether Sheldon can function in the world he's being accelerated into. While others celebrate Sheldon's genius, George worries about his humanity. And that's the mark of a great father, someone who sees beyond achievement and into long-term well-being. If Sheldon represents one extreme, Georgie Cooper represents the other. Georgie is not academically inclined. Over time, he disengages from school entirely and begins working, eventually stepping into sales and entrepreneurial ventures. This creates real tension within the Cooper household, especially as Mary prioritizes structure, discipline, and traditional success. But George recognizes something that no one else initially does. Georgie is not failing. He's just succeeding in a different language. The show makes this explicit through Georgie's development, his ability to sell, to negotiate, to read people. These are not accidental traits. They are competencies that George understands because they align more closely with his own worldview. Instead of forcing Georgie back into an academic system that clearly doesn't fit him, George validates his independence while still holding him accountable for his choices. That balance, respect without indulgence, discipline without dismissal, is extraordinarily difficult to achieve. And the long-term payoff is canonically clear. Georgie grows into a successful businessman in adulthood. That outcome doesn't happen by accident. It happens because George allowed him to become who he already was. Then there is Missy Cooper, arguably the most quietly important piece of this puzzle. Missy exists in a household dominated by extremes. Sheldon demands constant attention due to his genius, while Georgie commands attention through conflict and rebellion. In that environment, it would be easy for Missy to disappear, but she doesn't, because George sees her. Throughout the series, George consistently engages Missy on her own terms, through humor, casual conversation, and shared moments that are never treated as secondary. He doesn't view her as the easy child or the one who doesn't need attention. He treats her as someone worth knowing. That may seem small. It isn't. In family dynamics like the Coopers, the child who gets overlooked is often the one who carries the most silent weight. George's ability to recognize and counteract that dynamic speaks to a level of emotional awareness that is rarely acknowledged in discussions about his character. Beyond individual relationships, George's greatness becomes even more evident when you examine the broader context he operates within. The Cooper household is not stable. Financial pressure is constant. George's job as a high school football coach is demanding and often insecure. His marriage with Mary Cooper is strained by fundamental differences: religion, parenting philosophy, and emotional expression. And as the series progresses, that strain intensifies. Their disagreements are not superficial, they reflect deeply rooted conflicts in worldview. Mary seeks structure, faith, and moral clarity. George operates in ambiguity, practicality, and lived experience. That tension could easily fracture the family. But George continues to show up, not perfectly, but consistently. He goes to work, he comes home, he engages with his kids, he absorbs stress that is rarely acknowledged, let alone appreciated. And that consistency is what holds the family together. The ultimate confirmation of George's importance comes in the most definitive way possible: his absence. In Season 7 of Young Sheldon, George dies suddenly of a heart attack while at work. There is no extended goodbye, no dramatic resolution, just an abrupt, irreversible loss. And the impact is immediate. The family doesn't just grieve, they destabilize. Because George wasn't the loud center of the household. He was the structural one. His presence had been quietly maintaining balance the entire time, and only when it's gone does the full weight of what he carried become visible. That narrative choice is deliberate. It forces both the characters and the audience to reassess everything that came before it. When you connect this back to the Big Bang Theory, the significance becomes even greater. For years, George existed only as a memory shaped by Sheldon's perspective, a perspective that, by Sheldon's own nature, is incomplete. Sheldon is brilliant, but he is not emotionally perceptive. His recollection of his father reflects that limitation. Young Sheldon corrects it. It reveals a man who was never fully understood in his own lifetime. A father whose flaws were visible, but whose efforts, sacrifices, and consistency were largely invisible. And that's what makes George Cooper the greatest TV dad of all time. Not perfection, not idealism, but reality. He raises 3 completely different children, each with unique challenges, and meets them where they are. He navigates financial stress, marital conflict, and personal limitations without abandoning his role. He prepares his children not for a perfect world, but for the one they actually have to live in. And he does it all without expecting recognition. In the end, George Cooper's legacy isn't defined by how he was remembered. It's defined by what he built and who his children became because of him. And when you measure fatherhood by that standard, there's really only one conclusion. George Cooper wasn't just a good dad. He was the one who showed you what real fatherhood looks like. And that's why he's the greatest of all time.